Hey guys, Sean here, going to explain to you how to answer this question correctly. So we got this supporting evidence question and we want to find an answer that supports Dr. Natali's hypothesis. So let's take a look at what the hypothesis is. In this sentence, it says, she hypothesizes that reducing global carbon emissions would slow down the rate of permafrost thawing, ultimately mitigating the release of greenhouse gases from the Arctic. So that means, according to this hypothesis, the cause and effect relationship we're looking for is that a reduction in carbon emissions would lead to a decrease in the rate of permafrost thaw, and that would ultimately lead to a decrease in the release of greenhouse gases. So we need to find something that kind of supports this flow of cause and effect relationships. So how like carbon emissions will result in this and will ultimately result in this. So when we look at answer choice alpha, the Arctic is experiencing warmer temperatures and more extreme weather events due to climate change. I mean, this one, it doesn't even have any reference to like carbon emissions or permafrost. So this one is not really closely related to this claim. So we can eliminate A. Bravo. Increased plant growth in the Arctic region could potentially offset some of the carbon emissions released by thawing permafrost. Now, even though this might be true, it doesn't really support the claim here because the increased plant growth doesn't show how carbon emissions impacts the rate of permafrost thawing and ultimately how that leads to the release of more greenhouse gases. So this is not really directly related to the claim enough to be our answer. Answer choice Charlie. Some areas of permafrost have shown signs of melting and releasing greenhouse gases, while others remain stable. Now, as soon as we see this, if others remain stable regardless of changes in global carbon emissions, then that would kind of negate Dr. Natali's claim, because she's trying to show that this reduction of carbon emissions would lead to a reduction in or a slowing of the rate of permafrost thaw, and that would result in less greenhouse gases. But if this answer choice says that others remain stable even though despite changes in global warming or global carbon emissions, then this kind of negates this chain of cause and effect events. So we can eliminate Charlie. Delta says, in regions where relatively new policies require at least half the energy consumption to come from renewable energy sources, the rate of permafrost thawing has slowed down. Now, this one, when we see the policies that require half the energy consumption to come from renewable energy sources, this implies that there's going to be a reduction in carbon emissions since these policies require more energy coming from renewable energy sources, which have either no carbon footprint or at least less of a carbon footprint. So this policy resulted in a slower permafrost thawing rate, which leads us to this. So it shows that this relationship is true. Now, here we see that the permafrost contains large amounts of carbon. So if the permafrost thawing has slowed down, then the reduction of greenhouse gases is implied, since if there's less permafrost melting, that means this carbon is still trapped inside the permafrost, which implies that there's going to be less greenhouse gases being released from the permafrost. So that's why delta has to be our answer. Got it? Good.